सो नाउ वी आर बेसिकली स्टार्टिंग सेमेस्टर 4 और अब हम यहाँ पे फोकस करेंगे जो भी लोगों के सेमेस्टर 4 है हिस्ट्री ऑनर से, तो इट वुड बी हेल्पफुल फॉर देम। तो हिस्ट्री 6th का पहला यूनिट का पहला टॉपिक है। सो देयर आर 2 टॉपिक्स अंडर 1 यूनिट, लाइक देयर आर 2 सब यूनिट्स, इश्यूज and debate, and one is continuity. So they are basically same debate कि क्या 18th सेंचुरी का जो पीरियड था क्या उसमें कॉन्टिन्यूटी हो रही थी या चेंज हो रहा था, और डिबेट है क्या वो डार्क एज थी. तो इफ़ देर इज़ अ क्वेश्चन यू कैन राइट ऑलमोस्ट सिमिलर आंसर्स. So here I am focusing on a document and I'm going to explain to you, I'm going to read to you every and each line so you can consider this document, and I'll put the link in the description for the document and you can just check this. You can read from that and I'm explaining you. Okay. So basically जो 18th सेंचुरी थी वो एक वाटर शेड टाइम था इंडियन हिस्ट्री का, जिसमें मुग़ल एम्पायर डिमाइज कर रहा था, मतलब एंड हो रहा था, और ब्रिटिश कॉलोनियल गवर्नमेंट एकदम एक तरीके से उसकी उपज हो रही थी. जो प्री डोमिनेंट 19th सेंचुरी का व्यू है 18th सेंचुरी को लेके, वो ये था कि ये एक एनार्की का पीरियड है बिटवीन द एज ऑफ मुगल हेजेमनी एंड द इम्पोजिशन ऑफ पैक्स ब्रिटेनिका परसिस्टेड अंटिल वेरी रिसेंटली. तो एनार्की होता है मतलब जहाँ पे गवर्नमेंट का कंट्रोल नहीं होता, मतलब जो कुछ कर रहा होता है चल रहा होता है. बिटवीन द एज ऑफ मुगल हेजेमनी, मतलब मुगल की हेजेमनी जो भी एक तरीके से शासन था वो ख़त्म हो रहा था, और पैक्स ब्रिटेनिका इज़ लाइक ब्रिटेन के कंट्रोल होने से पहले का टाइम इम्पोजिशन. ठीक है, क्योंकि जो ब्रिटेन था उसने भी पूरी तरीके से कंट्रोल नहीं करा था. द 18th century occupies a very important position as an era of change and continuity in Indian society, particularly polity and economy. The presupposed relationship between the decline of imperial power, because there was a time जो रिलेशनशिप था पहले से सपोज कर रखा था इम्पेरियल पावर की डिक्लाइन का और जनरल सोशल इकोनॉमिक कल्चरल डिक्लाइन का, उस चीज़ को रिकन्सिडर कर रहे थे. एंड पीपल वर ट्राइंग, एंड बेसिकली नॉट पीपल, बेसिकली हिस्टोरियंस वर ट्राइंग टू पॉइंट आउट द बेसिक रीजन्स फॉर द डिक्लाइन ऑफ मुगल एम्पायर इन द 18th सेंचुरी. ठीक है, तो देयर वर टू व्यूज़ and there were two differentiation in the 18th century. The first was the first half of 18th century, the decline of Mughal empire and the rise of regional political orders at that time. So एकदम से instantly British power नहीं आके rule करने लगा था. There was the rise of regional political orders. And the second time period that was differentiation was the second half of the 18th century, that is the post the Battle of Plassey, that is 1757, and Buxar, that is 1764. A transition in the society, economy and polity of India occurred as an East India Company began to assume political control in North India. So basically East India Company, they started, but बहुत इनिशियल फेज पे था पॉलिटिकल कंट्रोल. बेसिकली उनका मोटिव था इकोनॉमिक कंट्रोल. बट द बैटल ऑफ प्लासी एंड बैटल ऑफ बक्सर दैट हैपेंड इन second half of the 18th century, that is 1757 and 1764, they led to the transition in society, economy, polity. Okay, and they were very initial stage पे political control. Don't think that पूरा political control हो गया. No, it was very very initial. ठीक है. The debate regarding the first half of the 18th century revolved around the reasons for the decline of the Mughal Empire. So we are basically focusing on here that why Mughal Empire declined, and it has two broad views, very easy to understand. One is a dark age view, one is a revisionist view. So basically अगर हम डार्क एज व्यू को कॉन्ट्रडिक्ट करेंगे तो हमारा सेकेंड व्यू इम्पॉर्टेंट हो जाएगा. ठीक है. नाउ द डार्क एज व्यू बेसिकली से मतलब, क्योंकि हम इसमें यूजुअली हिस्टोरियंस डार्क एज व्यू नहीं मानते. ठीक है, तो सिंपल सी बात है, दैट पॉइंट्स आउट कि द रिविजनलिस्ट व्यू वुड बी मोर प्रोमिनेंट. बट लेट अस फर्स्ट अंडरस्टैंड कि दोनों हैं क्या. डार्क एज व्यू सिंपल से ये कहता है कि मुगल एम्पायर इसीलिए ख़त्म हो गया क्योंकि वह सोशल और इकोनॉमिक डिक्लाइन हो रहा था इंडिया का. ठीक है, और रिविजनलिस्ट व्यू कहता है कि उस टाइम पर बेसिकली पॉलिटिकल टर्मोइल हो रहा था रीजनल असर्टिवनेस का ड्यू टू इकोनॉमिक प्रॉस्पेरिटी नोटेड बाय them in 18th century. Thus this studied the rise of regional polities and regional economic prosperity to challenge the dark age view and the causal link it draws between political and economic decline. Basically, Dark Age view is about economic and social decline, and the revisionist view is basically about the political turmoil that was caused because of the rise of the regional assertiveness or the regional powers. Okay, मतलब रिविजनलिस्ट व्यू इज अबाउट रीजनल कि रीजनल पावर्स राइज हुई इसलिए, तो वहाँ से पॉलिटिकल टर्मोइल हो गया. बट डार्क एज इज अबाउट कि उनके पास पैसा खत्म हो गया था, उनकी सोशल डिक्लाइन हो गया था. मतलब दे कांट अपील, मतलब सोशली उन्हें वैलिडेशन नहीं मिल रहा था जो जनता थी उनके थ्रू. सोशल अपील खत्म हो गई थी उनकी. ठीक है, तो सोशल डिक्लाइन भी हो रहा था, सोशल सिचुएशंस बुरी हो रही थी. The debate regarding the second half of the 18th century revolved around whether colonial rule had roots in political economy, pre-colonial economy and society, as the revisionists argue, as if it marked a political economic breakup with pre-colonial India, and as historians who propose a dark age view. So the second half of the 18th century basically have a question कि क्या जो कॉलोनियल रूल था उसकी रूट्स प्री कॉलोनियल इकोनॉमी और सोसाइटी में थी, एज रिविजनलिस्ट आर्ग्यू. और क्योंकि रिविजनलिस्ट कहते हैं कि कॉलोनियल रूल आया क्योंकि वहाँ पे प्री कॉलोनियल सोसाइटी और इकोनॉमी स्टेब्लिश हो चुकी थी पहले से, और इफ इट मार्क्ड अ पॉलिटिकल इकोनॉमिक ब्रेक, या फिर उसने एक पॉलिटिकल इकोनॉमिक ब्रेक मार्क करा था विद प्री कॉलोनियल इंडिया आज, या फिर वहाँ पे पॉलिटिकल इकोनॉमिक ब्रेक आ चुका था एक तरीके से प्री कॉलोनियल इंडिया में, पहले की इंडिया में जो जहाँ पे कॉलोनियल, जहाँ पे ब्रिटिशर्स नहीं आए थे, एज हिस्टोरियंस हु बेसिकली से दैट डार्क एज भी आया था. ओके, द 18th century in Indian historiography has been a field of study that has evoked a considerable debate. It has been suggested that political flux of century was indicative not of the last days of decaying Mughal empire, but rather the emergence of regeneration and growth under regional authority. So, see, there's a lot of debate, and it is basically suggested that the political flux of the century was not about any dark age or decaying Mughal empire, but वहाँ पे regeneration और growth हो रही थी regional powers के. So you cannot say that there was a dark age. Therefore, the notion of 18th century as a dark age needs to be re-examined, and there's a lot of re-examination of the dark age view. So there is a lot of contradiction that is going to come to the dark age view, and you should be ready for that. When we study the situation of the 18th century, three dates serve as landmark. The first one is the death of Aurangzeb in 1707. Aurangzeb was the last, not Aurangzeb, okay, fine. Kind of the last most powerful ruler, okay, yeah, but kind of. So firstly, the death of Aurangzeb in 1707. Aurangzeb has often been seen as a harbinger of Mughal decline. Although the Mughal Empire reached its territorial climax during his reign, Aurangzeb's military campaigns were a severe financial drain. So basically, it is seen that after him, the commencement of Mughal decline started. Okay, the commencement started of Mughal decline. Okay. Now, although the Mughal Empire, उसने टेरिटोरियल क्लाइमेक्स उसके रेन में पूरा कर लिया था, मतलब उसके बाद में कोई टेरिटरी नहीं बढ़ी थी. His military campaigns, they have huge financial drain. Okay, the outbreak of agrarian revolt led by Marathas, Jats, Sikhs and others, and the assertion of autonomy by many provincial governors were becoming a they were basically becoming a threat to central authority. So the first thing that marks importance of औरंगजेब डेथ इज कि एक तो फाइनेंशियल ड्रेन करवा दिया था उसने, ठीक है, फिजिकल ड्रेन करवा दिया था. दूसरा, ऑटोनॉमी में प्रॉब्लम इसलिए हो रही थी और सेंट्रल की अथॉरिटी में क्योंकि एग्रीगेरियन रिवॉल्ट्स हुए थे मराठा जाट सिख्स के थ्रू. कंट्रोल ऑफ पेरिफेरी सून बिगेन टू लैप्स इन द हैंड्स ऑफ रीजनल पावर. जो कोर था दैट वाज इन द कंट्रोल ऑफ द मुगल्स, बट द पेरिफेरीज वर कंट्रोल्ड बाय रीजनल पावर्स एंड लोकल एलाइट्स. Meanwhile, the Mansabdari crisis intensified factional conflict with the nobility. So there was a Mansabdari crisis that was going at that time that intensified the factional conflict within the nobility. So invasion of Nadir Shah in 1739 and then the raids of Ahmed Shah Abdali between 1751 and 1752 dealt a further blow to the tottering Mughal empire. So there was a Mansabdari crisis also that were going, and the invasion of Nadir Shah in 1739, and then the raids of Ahmad Shah Abdali. So there were a lot of reasons after the death of Aurangzeb that led to the commencement and continuation, not just commencement, the continuation for the decay of Mughal Empire and the authority. Okay, these multiple internal and external factors resulted in the rapid decline of Mughal rule during the 18th century. The Mughal emperor was not even able to directly participate in the Battle of Panipat, in which the Afghan routed the Maratha army, which proved to be a major setback for the Marathas. Just at a time when the English were beginning to shift from trade to dominion, Maratha power, however, had a brief revival under their great leader Mahadaji Scindia in 1770s and in 1780s. In 1784, Scindia won acknowledgement as protector of the Mughal emperor. It was only after overcoming fierce Maratha resistance that the British occupied Delhi in 1808. Okay, so let me make you understand this thing, the whole para. Now, there were layers of internal and external factors that were leading for the decline of Mughal rule. Okay, now the Mughal emperor was not even able to participate directly in the Battle of Panipat. नहीं participate करवाया, ठीक है. Battle of Panipat जहाँ पे अफगान ने मराठा की आर्मी को हरा दिया था. And there was a huge setback for Marathas just at a time when the English were beginning to shift from trade to dominion. And there was a huge, setback for the Marathas at that time because there was a shift from trade to dominion. Now, Maratha power, however, it has a brief revival. It came to the revival under the great leader Mahadaji Scindia in 1770s and 1780s. And in 1784, Scindia won acknowledgement as protector of Mughal emperor. She won acknowledgement as for the protector of Mughal emperor, and it was only after overcoming fierce Maratha resistance that the British occupied Delhi in 1803. The second defining date for the 18th century was 1757. There was a Battle of Plassey between Nawab Sirajuddaulah of Bengal and British East India Company. So, with the victory of East India Company, acquired effective political control of Bengal and Bihar. Okay. Following the Battle of Buxar in 1764, the company acquired the Diwani, that is the right for revenue of Bengal, to the company in 1765. So, both of these dates are very important. Battle of Plassey and Battle of Buxar. And you know why? Because in Battle of Plassey, the East India Company got political control. But in Battle of Buxar, they got the rights for Diwani. That means they got the revenue rights. That basically means they even had economic influence and economic control over Bengal. So now, Battle of Plassey for political control over Bengal and Bihar, and Battle of Buxar for economic control over Bengal. The third date, which perhaps symbolically caps the period, would be 1799, when Tipu Sultan, the ruler of Mysore and the opponent of British annexionist drives in South India, died defending Seringamapatnam, effectively signaling the advent of new military power in the Indian subcontinent, that is the East India Company. So 1799 when Tipu Sultan died. Okay, though his son was also very, brave and everything, but still, Tipu Sultan was Tipu Sultan and he died, and basically meant now there would be an advent of a new military power or a new power, that would be East India Company. Alright, so these are the 3 dates that you need to basically remember बहुत अच्छे से, so that you can focus on what it is trying to convey.